What's up guys, Nor here and welcome to Book of Showtime chapter 49. We're almost at 50 guys. As always, if you have a topic you'd like me to cover for Book of Showtime, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below or anywhere you can reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. So with the Game Awards taking place in just a few days, at the time of upload that is, I figured I'd do something a little special and give you guys my Game of the Year for every year starting in 1997, the year I was born, and ending with 2010. 2011 and onwards will be covered at a later date. I'll also be including some runner-ups, even though I'm going to limit that to 3 since some years are beyond stacked. Now some of the games I mentioned I've covered in previous chapters, so I won't talk about them too much. This is just going to be a fun video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know which of these you played, which is the best game from your year of birth. I'm going to try to be as brief as I can as I go over these, and here we go. 1997 Mario Kart 64. One of my all-time favorites, period. You're going to be hearing that a lot. I just love playing all the courses in a row every now and then, just unconsciously late at night, just get up and be like, all right, all the courses on extra or 150. I feel like extra is easier than 150. Does anybody else feel that? Anyway, I have a ton of great memories playing this with my brothers and cousins growing up, and now with my friends over Parsec and Switch Online. I never get tired of playing this game. I love the music, the sounds, and I don't know what it is about Nintendo 64 games, but they tend to bring out the most gamesmanship. Runner-up would be GoldenEye 007 for pretty much the same reasons as Mario Kart 64, honestly. Just a tremendous game, one of the seminal first-person shooters in history, and it still holds up today. I really wish the 360 version was completed, though. 1998, Resident Evil 2. Again, another all-time favorite, and you're going to see quite a few Resident Evil games mentioned throughout this series as well. I just love playing the classic Resident Evils. I remember that I beat Resident Evil 2, the original, 3 times in a row. I didn't even realize it until it was late at night. I was just playing so unconsciously. Also, I remember for dinner that night, my mom made tortellini and yellow rice, which sounds really good right now. I need some motherly cooking. The lone runner-up this year, Metal Gear Solid. Just a legendary game, fun gameplay, great storytelling, iconic boss battles, you name it, Metal Gear Solid had it. Metal Gear was also one of the more important games in history when it came to narrative structure and presentation. I don't think there was a dialogue-heavy game like Metal Gear Solid at this point in time, so kudos to, Kojima for just, sticking with his script and putting out a classic. 1999, Power Stone. Wait, what? Power Stone over Resident Evil 3? Yes. While I think Resident Evil 3 was a fantastic follow-up to Resident Evil 2, I just gotta go with Power Stone. It was something different, and we need to talk about Power Stone as much as we can, anytime that we can. It's sad that games like Power Stone just don't exist as much anymore. It's a super cool genre of fighting games. The way you navigate maps during a fight is awesome, and I think all the characters were cool too. Runner-ups are the aforementioned Resident Evil 3 and Super Smash Bros, which, is it me or are the sounds in Super Smash Bros 64 just really satisfying to hear? Can we get that on Nintendo Switch Online? There's also this weird stigma around Resident Evil 3 that I never grasped, is that people like to say that the game didn't improve much from Resident Evil 2 and reuse some of the same locations, which, did you guys even play either game? I don't know how you can draw that comparison. Yeah, the police station was there, but everything else was different. Resident Evil fans are the worst. 2000, Perfect Dark. Nothing will change the feelings I had experiencing Perfect Dark for the first time. As someone who grew up loving GoldenEye, this was just a better version in almost every way. Seeing those reload animations for the first time was insane, and then the alt-fire modes in the guns, the cutscenes with voice acting, this was crazy to me. The first time I played this game, I was visiting my oldest brother during a spring break, and he had the expansion pack, so imagine my surprise when I came back home and the game was missing a lot of assets. I was so sad, and I never ended up getting a 64 with an expansion pack. Runners-up are WWF No Mercy, which classic game. I love playing that. I still love playing that. And Power Stone 2. Now, what you guys might have noticed is that all of my Game of the Years, minus Resident Evil 2 and most of the follow-ups so far, are classic multiplayer games. These games just kind of defined my childhood and will always have a special place in my heart. I still play No Mercy when I can. I relish any opportunity to get a Power Stone session together. These are all great games. 2001, Luigi's Mansion. Another all-time favorite. I loved everything about Luigi's Mansion. The gameplay is still unique, the mansion is well designed. I also love all the ghost designs too, they're just so fun to see. This is just a classic game. It's probably the best launch title of all time too. Runner-up would be Max Payne. I love the storytelling and the vibe of this game. The gunplay is solid, and this is just another classic. Remedy, they make great games, and I am stoked for the remakes. 2002, Resident Evil. 2002 had some fantastic games. A lot of my all-time favorites are here. Obviously Resident Evil's remake, but the runners-up are fantastic as well. This was pretty hard, but look, Resident Evil Remake is such a great game. Probably the greatest remake of all time. And it's actually cool that I can have not only Resident Evil, but the runners-ups, Time Splitters and Grand Theft Auto Vice City on my Xbox right now. That's awesome. Again, games that just shaped my childhood. Time Splitters is still elite. I can't wait to play that again with my friends. And I miss Ray Liotta a lot. I'm very upset at his passing. You know, he starred as Tommy Vercetti in Vice City, and he also starred in the all-time gangster film Goodfellas. And while San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto 4 clear Vice City, I just love the 80s aesthetic so much. The cars, the music, the sunny setting. This is personally my favorite Grand Theft Auto game. 2003, Silent Hill 3. Silent Hill 3 was the first Silent Hill game I finished. I started Silent Hill 1 and 2, but never finished, and I finally saw one through in the summer of 2017. In fact, my friend Vinny sent me her copy because my 360 disk drive died, so shout out to her. I thought this game is fantastic. I love the structure of the game, the bosses were really cool, and Akira Yamaoka didn't have to go that hard. Did you guys know I actually cosplayed Heather Mason? I'll put a picture up real quick, but I was like the chunkiest Heather Mason ever. The runner-up this year would be Max Payne 2, which it was just as good as the first one. Very well done sequel, and just another hit for Remedy. Remedy does not miss. 2004, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Another great year for gaming, man. We had some bangers, and limiting this to just 3 runner-ups, that was hard, dude, but here we are. San Andreas is a timeless force of nature, and I think to this day it is still the peak Grand Theft Auto game. Not a single element of gameplay, presentation, narrative, anything you can think of was left untouched from Vice City. This is not only a near perfect game in its own right, but a masterclass in how to execute a sequel. Runners up would be Metal Gear Solid 3, Half-Life 2, and X-Men Legends. Again, stacked lineup. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best in the series, I really do. I can't wait to see more on the remake. And while earlier this year I was playing through Half-Life 2 on this mod which replaced Alex with Crystal from Star Fox, I promise I'm not a furry, I was like, man, I really didn't appreciate this game the first time I played it. It is a magnificent game, a lot of signature moments, and guess what else it is? A non-horror horror game. As for X-Men Legends, another game I loved playing with my brother Weaver, and we need more cel-shaded hero games. Besides, anyone in the server, do you guys want to have an X-Men Legends session one day? You know, I never played the second one, so let me know, guys. Let's make it happen. 2005, Resident Evil 4. What a great year for me in gaming this was. Now, anyone who knows me was waiting to see 2005 because they knew my GOATs were on tap. The runners-up are God of War and Time Splitters Future Perfect, and all time for me, Resident Evil and Time Splitters are right next to each other. Now, I don't like Resident Evil 4 more than Time Splitters and vice versa, but where Resident Evil 4 does have the edge to me is the number of platforms I can natively play it on. I can seriously load up almost every system in my room and play Resident Evil 4, GameCube, PS5, Wii, PS3, Series X, Nvidia Shield, all of it. While I do love Time Splitters Future Perfect a ton, most of the meat of the game lies in the multiplayer, and not everybody has or wants to use Parsec, and Xbox refuses to add a share play feature, which not to go on a rant, but come on, man. All the local only indie games on Game Pass like Cuphead, all the backwards compatibility games with sunsetted servers, it would make so much sense. But I digress. Resident Evil 4 and Time Splitters Future Perfect are just 2 games I'll always be in love with. Such beautiful games, fun, iconic, and Resident Evil 4 was a huge part of my Twitch career, so it gets bonus points for that. I think I beat it like half a dozen times in my first year. God of War is the runner-up. It was a great game too. I remember when I came across it, I actually watched my oldest brother, and the one who gave me Perfect Dark. I watched him play it during the spring break, and it was awesome. I hope we get a remaster of it someday. 2006, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The first Zelda game that I ever finished, and actually the subject of my Zelda doubleheader chapter, so I won't talk too much about it. Twilight Princess was just a very aesthetically pleasing game, to me at least. I love darker tones in games. I just wish I played it on GameCube and not the Wii. Having to do all the swinging was cool, but aiming when you were kind of sitting in bed was a little... And I know why am I playing a Wii game in bed, but hey, listen, I was tired. I wanted to play Zelda. Runner-up this year is Gears of War, the original. I played a big chunk of this game recently with my friend Cynthia, and it holds up tremendously well. And guess what it is? A non-horror horror game. I'm just gonna run that term into the ground now. That might, you know, if I ever get like a T-shirt or merchandise, it's going to be non-horror horror games. 2007, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This was an interesting year when I look back on it. I mean, I'm a big Call of Duty fan, but 2007 just seemed like a down year for the industry. There's a lot of games here that I just don't feel that strongly about, and I had to put something here, so Call of Duty 4 will get the nod. Now, I'm not trying to say Call of Duty 4 isn't a good game. It's a great game. Iconic campaign, world-class multiplayer, all that jazz I mentioned in the last chapter, but it's far from being my favorite COD. God of War 2 is the runner-up, but again, not like I feel notably strong about either of these games, so I'm just gonna move on. 2008, Grand Theft Auto 4. Stacked year with a lot of classic games. While San Andreas is the peak Grand Theft Auto game in my opinion, 4 is right behind it. The storytelling in this game is off the charts. I love the grounded and gritty universe that Rockstar curated, all the weaving narratives that are fleshed out with the episodes of DLC to create just one of the best sandbox narratives we have ever witnessed. And the multiplayer is underrated too. I mean, I don't know, I wasn't really there when it launched, but you can just spend hours in all of the various modes or even just free roaming with your friends. It was fantastic. Runners up would be Gears of War 2, Left 4 Dead, and Dead Space. Gears 2 was just a tremendous follow-up. It was my first Gears of War game, and I spent an unhealthy amount of hours playing Horde mode with my cousin James. He's a legend in his own right, by the way. Left 4 Dead was a classic co-op game, started a genre that no one else can do right. We'll get more on that later, but this was a great game, man. Left 4 Dead, classic co-op game, started a genre that no one else can do right. More on that later. And Dead Space, just one of the seminal horror games of its generation. A tense sci-fi experience, original or remake, this is a masterpiece. 2009, Left 4 Dead 2. 2009 was a cracked year for gaming, man. I feel like I need to do a chapter on this year alone. We had some great runs, but out of every game on this list, to me, Left 4 Dead 2 might be the king of all. You know a game slaps when I have double-digit hours on the demo alone. This is the first game I ever played online. I made all my friends try it out, and just, what else can I say? I mean, this game has been praised to the moon and back. This is like the perfect game. The music, the characters, the set pieces, the addictive and dynamic gameplay, and you know, seeing what Valve did for Half-Life turning 25 has me crossing my fingers that when this game turns 15 next year, we get a little something special too. Runner-ups are Modern Warfare 2 and Batman Arkham Asylum. Modern Warfare 2 was the first game I beat when I got my Xbox 360, and this game blew my mind into a million pieces. To this day, if I load up Modern Warfare 2, I'm going to get goosebumps during the EMP scene. Same with Batman, just experiencing that game for the first time was a spiritual experience. Played the remaster a couple years ago, I need to go back and do the same for Arkham City because those are great games. While Arkham Asylum is arguably the greatest superhero game of all time, it's undeniably the most important. In fact, I'm certain that most of you that disagree with Arkham being the best are going to say Spider-Man, you know, the 2018 one. Well, Batman crawled through vents so Spider-Man can crawl on ceilings. Spider-Man has a ton of Arkham DNA, but that's for another time. 2010, Alan Wake. Finally, we end with another all-time favorite of mine, Alan Wake. Once again, this is a game I covered extensively in the past, so this is more about the runner-ups, but it's only fair that every game gets its chance in the sun. But briefly, Alan Wake is yet another game on this list that I am in love with. It is such a part of who I am as a gamer, and while with gameplay and content it's not on the level of a lot of my favorites, the sentimental value is massive for me. As for runner-ups, 2010 was another tremendous year for gaming, so only having the 3 I selected, those being Call of Duty Black Ops, Dead Rising 2, and Mass Effect 2, feels like it's not enough, but again, maybe in the subchapter I'll go over more releases. Dead Rising 2 and Mass Effect 2, I covered those before, but just very quickly, Dead Rising is another all-time favorite of mine, one of my favorite 360 games, and Mass Effect 2 is one of the finest RPGs I've ever played, second only to Yakuza 7. Black Ops 1 though, all-timer. We need that remaster bad. The twist near the climax of the story is still something that resides in the minds of Call of Duty fans everywhere. The multiplayer was elite, and the zombies mode is still some of the best in the entire series. Black Ops 1 is such a great game. It was also made in such a short time compared to what we get now, and after like the first couple of months, it was practically bug-free, so where did we go wrong, Call of Duty? I remember when people used to develop games like Rent was doing, let's get back to making magic again. Okay, so here we are at the end of the chapter. Thank you guys for watching, and before you go, I just want to say very briefly, Chapter 50 is scheduled to drop on December 13th, and if you want to contribute to it, it's going to be half update video, half Q&A, and I'm willing to talk about just about anything here, personal or not. The deadline for a question will be on December 8th, so make sure to submit and also share with your friends. I'm going to do a little raffle of sorts when I get to 25 members in the Discord server. At the time of this recording, we're at 10, so send some links to your friends, and let's push to our new goal. If you're watching this the day of release, Friday, December 1st, I would love to have a retro game session tomorrow night. We can play all types of games. I really want to play Power Stone 2 and Time Splitters, among others. Also open to suggestions, so just let me know down below. More info can be found in the server. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below what some of your Game of the Years are, and if you played some of my Game of the Years. Inshallah, I will see you in the next chapter.